Imagine this, a quiet school hallway after hours, the soft squeak of a mop against the tiles, and a weary single father wiping sweat from his brow. He's just a janitor, most people would say, just a man trying to make ends meet. But what happened one ordinary evening when he found a broken violin in the trash would soon become a story the world would never forget. And before we dive in, if stories of hope, love, and second chances inspire you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. You won't want to miss the journey we're about to take together. Ethan worked nights as a janitor at a local high school. Life had not been kind to him. His wife had passed away suddenly 3 years earlier, leaving him alone with their only son, Noah. Noah was 9 years old and hadn't spoken a word since the day of his mother's funeral. Doctors called it selective mutism brought on by trauma, but to Ethan, it was as though the boy had locked his voice away with his grief. Ethan tried everything, counselors, doctors, patient talks at bedtime, but Noah's silence stretched on. He communicated only through drawings and fleeting glances, and though Ethan loved him fiercely, he often felt helpless, like a man trying to fix a shattered window with bare hands. One night, while cleaning out the music room, Ethan spotted a cracked violin tossed carelessly into the trash bin. Its strings were broken, its wood scarred, but something about it called to him. He pulled it out, wiped away the dust, and carried it home. He didn't know much about music, he couldn't read a single note, but he remembered his wife's dream. She had once told him she wanted Noah to learn an instrument, something to give his heart a voice if words ever failed him. With trembling hands, Ethan placed the violin on Noah's desk. "It's broken," he whispered, "but maybe you can fix it." For days, Noah simply stared at it. Then, quietly, he began tinkering. He searched through old videos, tried restringing it with fishing wire Ethan found in the garage, sanded the wood gently with his small hands. Ethan watched in awe, silently helping where he could. For the first time in years, Noah's eyes glowed with determination. Weeks passed. And then one night, when Ethan returned home from a long shift, he heard something that made him freeze at the doorway. Soft, trembling notes filled the air, broken at first, but then gathering into something hauntingly beautiful. Noah was playing the violin. His small hands shook, but the sound carried a weight, a sorrow too deep for words, and yet it was healing in every note. Ethan fell to his knees, tears spilling down his face. He didn't dare speak, afraid to break the spell. Word began to spread. Noah's teacher discovered his talent and encouraged him to perform at the school assembly. Ethan hesitated, his son hadn't spoken a word in 3 years. How could he stand in front of a crowd? But Noah, with determination burning in his silent gaze, nodded. He wanted to try. The night of the performance, the gymnasium was packed. Parents chatted, students laughed, and no one paid attention when a skinny, quiet boy walked onto the stage holding a patched-up violin. But when Noah drew the bow across the strings, the world stopped cold. The sound was raw, pure, and filled with an emotion that silenced the entire room. He played with the grief of losing a mother, the loneliness of silence, and the fragile hope of a heart learning to speak again. People wept openly. Even the toughest teachers dabbed their eyes. And then, at the end of his song, something miraculous happened. Noah lowered the violin, looked at his father in the front row, and whispered. Soft, raspy, but clear, "Dad." Ethan rushed forward, wrapping his son in his arms, sobbing into his hair. The crowd erupted into applause, but for Ethan, the world had already given him everything he ever wanted. That night, a janitor and his silent boy reminded everyone that music is more than sound, it is the language of the soul. The broken violin was never just an instrument, it was the bridge that carried Noah back to his voice, back to life. And so, if this story touched your heart, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Because sometimes, in the smallest acts of hope, we discover miracles, and we all need reminders that even the most broken things can be made whole again. After that night Ethan brought the broken violin home, their world began to shift little by little. Life was still hard. Ethan worked double shifts just to keep the lights on, and some nights he came home too exhausted to even eat dinner. But he noticed something different about Noah. The boys' silence had always felt like a heavy wall between them, but now, with the violin in the room, that wall began to crack. Noah would sit by the window for hours, adjusting strings, listening carefully to the vibrations. Sometimes he would scribble little notes in his sketchbook, drawings of music notes he didn't yet know how to read, or sketches of his mother smiling as if she were listening. Ethan would watch quietly from the doorway, not wanting to disturb him, but inside, his heart ached. He wished his wife could see this, see their son slowly waking up from the silence. One evening, as Ethan fixed dinner, just plain noodles, the cheapest he could afford, he heard Noah pluck a single string. The sound was clumsy, but when Ethan turned, he saw a smile